As you probably already know, there are 3 settings on your camera for changing the amount of light that's put onto the sensor of a digital camera. First, with digital, we have the great advantage of setting the ISO for each shot if we want to. Like film, a setting of around 100 ISO will give great quality, and if we're using decent studio flash heads, we'll have plenty of power to play with. Now for studio work, we need to set the camera to manual so that we can set the shutter speed and the lens aperture. When we're using studio flash, we need to set the shutter speed to the flash synchronization speed for your camera, normally 125th of a second. This ensures that the shutter is fully open when the flash fires. Don't worry about freezing fast-moving subjects, as the flash duration becomes the shutter speed. You'll need to find out what this is for your flash units. If they're Elinchroms, don't worry, they're all very fast. Even the slowest are up to near 1/1000th of a second. Be careful with some of the makes, as they can be quite slow and could cause you a few problems. Also remember that the lower the power settings, the slower the flash duration will be. This is opposite to the way an on-camera flash works. Okay, so this just leaves us with the lens aperture to find, and this is where we need a flash meter. When you take a meter reading through your camera, it's what's called a reflected light reading. The meter is reading the light that's reflected off the subject and back through the lens of the camera. The problem is that it can so easily be fooled. Imagine taking a reading of a landscape where half the picture is land and half sky. Just a small movement of the camera up or down will change the reading as more or less sky is included. Likewise, if I were to take a reflected light reading from my handheld meter from Ashley, wearing her white top against a light background, and then set that on my camera, I'm sure I would get some well-exposed shots. But if we then asked Ashley to change and she puts on a black top and we use a black background, there would be less light reflected back to my camera. If I took another reading, it would be different from the first. Now individually the pictures would probably look okay, but when you'd put them side by side, the skin tones would be different. A much more accurate way of taking a reading in the studio is to read the light that's actually falling onto my subject. This is called an incident light reading. If we're using just one light on our subject like this, I just point my meter with the diffuser cone in place at the light, and hey presto, I get an accurate reading, irrespective of the colour of her clothes, skin or background. The display shows the aperture I need to set on my lens for a correct exposure. Let's say I want to shoot at f8. At the moment my meter is telling me that the correct exposure is 5.6 and 3/10, so I'm 7/10 of a stop underexposed. Now with any other make of studio flash, I would need to adjust the power of the head up and take another reading, and I might have to do that several times to get exactly to f8. But with my Elinchrom head, I just need to press the power up button 7 times for 7/10, and my exposure at f8 will be spot on. I'm Burfoot. Thanks for watching.